reference to the speech that was just shown to you, I have to say that Robertson is a big meany dumbass.
Agreed.
When he says in the speech, "Isn't it great that I don't have to worry about being judged? Isn't it great that there's nothing wrong with this? There's no right or wrong, now is it, dude?" Quote unquote. Um, I, you don't have to worry about being judged because there is no objective morality in this world. Okay? I go out into the woods. I bring a person with me and I slit their throat. I then throw their body into a mound of fungus. That fungus is going to consume their body, and it's not happy about it, it's not sad about it. Nothing really cares. This is a cold universe. Do you have anything to say about that, Ryan?
Well, not really. I think it really puts the whole perspective on the whole concept of the idea of some people believing in an objective morality. Now, I'm not saying that the scenario that he gave is acceptable in our society, which it isn't acceptable in our society, but his
Yeah.
whole point about morality, period, it doesn't apply to the natural world. It doesn't apply to the world, the universe.
In fact, the only reason we have our supposedly objectified morality is because most of the things that we consider crimes were things that we didn't do when we were still uncivilized. Because it's not a very good evolutionary decision to kill, and eat your own species. You only do that if your species is able to easily reproduce. Which, considering the fact that humans have, on average, a 9-month gestation period, it's not viable.
It's all
Well,
based upon the evolutionary mechanisms that go on within our mind. Like, for example, our empathy for one another is an evolutionary advantage. So you don't need a god to have morality.
in fact, the belief in a god, while it does protect some of those basic evolutionary morals that are shared by, I believe, every major religion, at least in theory, of course, the Spanish Inquisition, the Crusades, etc., etc. There is no objective morality. Come on, guys. What we describe as morals is nothing to a snake. Snakes are cannibalistic. Snakes also aren't very intelligent, at least not by our standards.
So basically, the main point he was trying to drive was wrong. It's been wrong. It's always been wrong.
Atheist amorality is about the same as Christian morality. Also, well, the next quote, the next piece of his speech that argues just about the same point, which is, quote, "Wouldn't it be something if there was something wrong with this? But you're the one who says there is no God, there's no right, there's no wrong, so we're just having fun. We're sick in the head, have a nice day." That's effectively the same argument as what he said before.
Except with blatant statement of them doing this to specifically an atheist. Which if you...
And he's also implying that these two men, but you are the one who says there is no God. Are you saying that these robbers are Christian?
That, or at least theists of some kind.
They're religious. We can say that at least.
Yeah, and they did that to prove a point to this family in which, for all we know, is completely innocent.
In fact, I guess he's implying that they're innocent, aside from the inexcusable crime of atheism.
My God.
No, Ryan, there's no such thing as God. by the non-existent beard of Richard Dawkins. The only thing remaining that there's left to speak about is the ending quote of this short speech. Quote, if it happened to them, they probably would say, something about this just ain't right. Well, by our instinctual drive to outlaw anything that hurts others because of our naturally empathetic nature, no, to us it isn't right. I mean, I do accept the fact that killing a person has no real consequences except by what people do to them because of our arbitrary morality, but I would still shoot a guy if I saw him rape and kill an entire family, or a group of men, of course. The moral of the story is that Phil Robertson is a sick and depraved individual who stays up all night dreaming of things he can do to people. This was just one of many, I'm sure.
Although he does contain the contradiction. By the point we made earlier, it is safe to assume that the people doing this to the family is theist, and if it happened to them, they would say, something about this just ain't right, something like that. I don't know the exact quote. But wouldn't they know if they were theists? And according to his point, wouldn't they know that there's something wrong with that? So they wouldn't have any need to say something about it ain't right. They wouldn't do it in the first place. But apparently they do.
They understand at least their religion's right and wrong.
They just don't choose to follow it.
They don't care, though. I mean, doesn't that sound familiar? It's almost like that's happened all throughout history.
It's almost as if they can do whatever they want just as long as they ask forgiveness.
It's almost like people aren't really empathetic. People are hypocritical and violent. We have a basic sense of empathy. It's very... It can be said that altruistic nature in animals, including humans, is very rare. Altruism is a aspect of personality that humans are almost exclusive to. I can only think of a few animals who display altruistic behavior. One example that I can think of off the top of my head would be the domesticated dog. Domesticated dogs go out of their way to protect their human masters. That is altruism. But that may only be because an altruistic species domesticated them.
And I do know, I can think of a few more animals that are altruistic.
Chimpanzees are altruistic, I believe. They form lifelong bonds with other chimpanzees and will go out of their way to protect them. So,
you know, I've read in several places that there are some elephants, to some degree. Yeah, it's only to a certain degree, though.
But there's a difference between protecting your young and being altruistic. Protecting your young is necessary for your species' survival.
Yeah, I know, but they still technically apply to the bare minimum for altruism.
Then so does almost every mammal.
Yeah, but I read it that it was, you know, they took it to another extent. I'll show it to you later.
Okay. Well, because this is such a short speech, there's not much more to say about it that hasn't already been said.
It was stupid, it was perverted. It was disgusting. Shouldn't have been said, especially in front of kids. The point was stupid. The
Oh,
point was
but this,
incorrect.
and just remember, all these things he's saying, it's all arbitrary morality. You shouldn't say it in
Mhm.
front of kids. I don't think he should have, but who cares, right?
That's all based on our society.
And to to wrap this up, here's a here's a response from John Pavlovitz in response from FoxNews.com. Dear world, Phil Robertson doesn't speak for me. Pat Robertson either. With love, a Christian. Even Christians don't agree with this guy. He's a psychopath.
So I hope that Phil Robertson, I hope for you absolutely nothing. Just whatever happens to you, I don't care.
He looks pretty old.
You'll probably die soon anyway.
Oh, don't say that. People might get
A little upset.
a little upset about that.
You're criticizing the Duck Dynasty stars.
How dare you? Well, I think we've rambled long enough.
Right.